Chaim. Yeah. So this week we have the mitzvah of Schiras Amalek, which reminds us to do the other mitzvah saseh of Mechias Amalek. So I just want to read the Lashon Rambam. So now, Amalek's not the only nation we're commanded to kill out. No Democrats here, right? What?
You have to kill them.
Right. Right. There are many other races that we have to obliterate. There's a Shiva Samin. So I want to compare and contrast. The Ram puts all these mitzvahs together. So we'll start with the mitzvah, which of Hachreim Tachrimim. So mitzvah saseh lahachrim shivas amamin, shneim hachrei Tachrimim. V'chol shebo yorach mem v'largo over beloy saseh shneim lo sachai kol shama. Not only are you a mavato mitzvah saseh if you don't do what you're supposed to, but you're also over on the lo sev lo sachai kol shama. And says the Rambam, v'kvar avad zichram. This mitzvah is no longer applicable. They've already disappeared. And the Rambam goes on to say, halacha hey, v'chein mitzvahs aseh la'abed zecher Amalek. There's also a mitzvah aseh to obliterate the zecher of Amalek. Now, very interesting, one inference to make over here, is lahachrim shivas amim, and then there's la'abed zecher Amalek. The Rambam is copying down the lashon of the Torah, right? That the Torah did something which needs explanation, right? That since the beginning, Parshas B'Shalach, ki mocho emcha es zecher Amalek b'tachas Shemaim, or what we're going to read in this week's Parshas Zohar, timcha zecher Amalek, afikte b'lashon zecher, right? Which is by the other Rambam, just says kill them all. By Amalek it's like zecher. Right? Wipe out the zecher. So the Rashi. Just midei dabri, but I'm just mentioning. So Rashi in Chumash deals with that, and Rashi himself understands, right, that this is coming to that the din that there was by Shaul HaMelech, that they had to destroy also the livestock, right, kill the animals. So Rashi brings that, to be miyashiv this question. Why zecher Amalek? Just timcha Amalek, just like by Shazam hachrim tachrimin. So Rashi understands to get out of this question to explain the pshat. Which most Rishonim disagree. They understand that this thing by Sholmach was a haras shah. This idea of killing out the livestock. So Rashi, to be Miyashiv Lashon HaMikra, says it seems that killing out the livestock, the animals, is midoraisa, and that's what means zecher Amalek. But in the Rambam doesn't bring any such halacha. And the Minchas Chinuch also points this out, that the simplest understanding is that this din by Shaul to kill the animals was a haras shah, lefi shah, right? So the question still remains, so you won't find this halacha in the Rambam of killing the animals of Amalek. So why is it the Rambam is keeping the lashon HaTorah and Amalek is zecher Amalek? So keep that in mind. So if unless we say like Rashi, so why is Amalek zecher Amalek? So keep that in mind. So okay, v'chein mitzvah labed zecher Amalek, shel timcha zecher Amalek. Mitzvah say liskor tomit masav harayim v'arei vaso, and it's also the mitzvah say that we do in this week, to always remember his bad deeds and how he ambushed us. K'dei l'orei vaso, shel zochar Amalek, pirush malamu b'peh lo tishkach b'leiv, shasur lishkach ei vaso v'sinasa. So now, the question that we'll deal with first, what is the din taka by Amalek? Right? We said by Shira Samin, Kvar Avad Zichram. Right? So seemingly that should be the case by Amalek also. Right? Show me on the map where Amalek lives. Go ahead. Right? We don't know who they are. If they've exchanged DNA with anything that moves. Right? Right? So it's good to speak in a totally Republican audience. Right. All right, so seemingly you would think the halacha should be the same, that kvar avad zichra. But the problem is it doesn't sound like that by the Rambam. The Rambam said it by the Shivas Amamim, but then he goes into Amalek and says you have to kill them and you have to remember them. and to never forget what they did. And he doesn't mention Avad Zichram, makes it sound like, by Amalek, it's all systems go. Everything's fully in effect. But the Minchas Chinuch, you take a look, he assumes, listen, the Svara says that they're the same like the Shivas Amin. So Minchas Chinuch himself asked the question, so Kfar Avad Zichram, so what's the point of remembering? They're gone. So why should we do Zachar? So this, I'm just saying, you take a look, as I remember it, he says, as we say in Brisk, a dinazah, right? So dinazah, you got to remember what they did, to you, to hate them, even though they're not here. It's a dinazah, so even though it's not nogel lemaisa to kill, so as you should kill them out, it's one of these things that the Torah was mitzvah, even though seemingly the time of the mitzvah is in the past.
Doesn't the Torah say the Farish that the Makol is but Hashem Amalek?
Very good. So very good. Right, but it's what as I remember, you'll check me on this. This is how the Minchas Chinuch understands, right? That there is no difference. Timcha Zechar Amalek is equally non-applicable as Hachrem Tachrimim, right? And we do Zachar still Adayom Hazeh, Dinazah. That the Torah said to never forget what they did, even though killing them out, the thing that mitzvah facilitates, even though it's no longer in effect. That is the approach of Minchas Chinuch. So now I want you to listen very carefully to the lashon of the Rambam in the Sefer HaMitzvahs, and this is actually on the mitzvah of Achrayim Tachrim, not on the mitzvah of Amalek. So in its mitzvah Sasei Kuf Pei Zayin, Hu Shitzvah Larok Shiva Amin Shiyoshu Beretz Kan L'Lavam Shem Shorsh Avarazah V'Yisoda Marishan, and the Ram, of course, says the Tama Mitzvah, why these people are so bad is because they are the Shorsh of Avodah Zarah. We have many psukim that there's a time for this mitzvah, there'd be a bad influence on us. So he says like this, V'ula yachshov choshev shezos mitzvah she'ena noheges l'doros. Now you might think that this is not a mitzvah noeges l'doros, and the Rambam is referring back to what he wrote in his 14th chapter introduction to Sefer HaMitzvahs. The Rambam in his 14th chapter introduction laid down shorashim, the criteria of what qualifies to be counted as a mitzvah. So shorash shlishi, right, is that you only count something that's for all generations. So someone might ask on me, why am I counting this mitzvah, including it? It's not noeg l'doros because they've already, they're gone, so it's not applicable, right? So it's not forever and ever. So why am I counting this mitzvah? That's what someone may ask. But he says, Ze omnam yachshav mi shelo yivin inyan noeg l'doros ve'en l'doros. Right? That is, someone who would ask this question just didn't understand what I meant when I spoke about that it has to be a mitzvah noheg l'doros. Right? Ki tzivu shnishlam bagir tachliso mi bilti she'ez a toli bizman yadua no b'ayno noheg l'doros. A mitzvah that no longer applies because you accomplished everything the Torah wants you to accomplish. You just finished the job early. That's not called that the mitzvah wasn't noheg l'doros. Noheg l'doros means that it was time related. It was shazman groma in the sense that it's only from this time to this time. The mitzvah expires on the clock. That's Eino Noeg L'Doros. But if a mitzvah is, it applies for as long as it applies, but it's to accomplish a certain objective. You're very, conscientious, and you finish early, and you didn't take all of the zman of the shita al-feishnin to get it done. It's not called the mitzvah is Eino Noeg L'Doros, because it's never put on the clock that will expire. Right? So finishing early is not a chisaron in Eino Noeg L'Doros, right? Because the mitzvah was Batsim said for as long as it takes, forever and ever. Just you finished early. Right? That which I said, Eino Noeg L'Doros, shouldn't be counted something that was from only expired. It had an expiry date that the tzivui goes away. Right? So this is what he says. This mitzvah of Hachrei Tachrim is noeg in every generation. It was never time restricted. It was never time sensitive. Every generation where the mitzvah will be possible to be performed. So listen to this, what he says, Kafi Mesiach Lefi Tumo. Hatachshov, Kishayovar Hashem Yis'ale Zera Amalek V'achriseu Ad Achriso, Kamo Shiyeh Bimheira B'yameinu, Kamo Shiyivtiach Osonu B'omro, Kimacho Em Chazarek, Eino L'Doros. Right? Do you think, right, that with Mechias Amalek, that Hashem should just do it speedily in our days, as he promised in the end of Parshas B'Shach. Ki mocho em chazak. You think because of that, even if it will be tomorrow finally, Hashem will get around to it. We'll say that it's Eino Noeg L'Doros. Ze lo emor, Avonog b'chol dor v'dor, kol zman shenimtza mizera Amalek, mitzvah la'achriso, right? But rather, the mitzvah is midor dor. Anytime you find an Amaleki, kill him, right? So even if Hashem would finish the job tomorrow, it's still called Noeg L'Doros because the tzivui was never time sensitive.
Hashem finishes the job, how's this on Amaleki then?
Excuse me?
Hashem finished the job.
He didn't. He said, if Hashem...
He said that even if Hashem finishes the job, it's still Noeg there, because you'll find an Amaleki.
Right, in the sense that it was never the mitzvah never gets suspended. In any door that there might be an Amaleki, you kill him. So if the job gets done earlier, it's not a chisaron called Eino Noeg L'Doros because the mitzvah was never time sensitive, right? So just you finish the objective early. That's it. But the mitzvah is L'Doros for any door that's applicable. Eino L'Doros means that from the beginning there was an expiry date of when the mitzvah no longer applies, right? It was on the clock. Right? It's not on the clock. Anytime it's possible. But what interests us, for our discussion, is what is b'Mesiach v'Torah. Do you think that when Hashem will finally take out Amalek, that at that time we'll say it was Eino Noeg L'Doros? So Rambam b'Mesiach Lefi Tumo, he's discussing the mitzvah of Shivas Amin, says Amalek's around, and we're waiting for Hashem to wipe him out. Right? So where is he? Right? In what way does he still exist? So you see Mefurish from what the Rambam said, Kilu b'Mesiach v'Tumo, not like the Minchas Chinuch. Amalek's out there, right? He's out there, right? And maybe his existence is a tricky one. That's why what the Rambam puts the stress on. Maybe we have to rely on Hashem to do it. But he's out there, and if we could ever identify him, we would have to kill him ourselves. So first of all, so what we learned so far, is Amalek's out there, and the mitzvah of Zachor is not a din azah. It's very much for its literal meaning that Zachor should, as the pasuk gets off, Timcha Zechar Amalek, to facilitate, killing him. But now we have to understand, as much as we see that the Rambam is to be read in its most literal way in Hilchos Malachim, dafka by Shivas Amin of Zichram. But not by Amalek. But now we have to define the nature of the existence of Amalek, why it's called that he is, yes, still around, even though the Shiva Amir are called that they're not around because they intermarried, and Avad Zichram, but Amalek is, yes, still around, yes.
Are you assuming Avad Zichram means that it's impossible, meaning it was finished, or that we just don't know because they're muvla?
Right, so saying the same thing, they dissolved. They dissolved. They don't have the national identity dissolved.
I'm just saying it's because the Hekatesi that the Rambam believes he could identify Amalek either. Hashem could get rid of that.
Right. But he said, but the Rambam is very adamant, that Avad Zarah, they are something of the past. Shiv Samim are something of the past, right? Amalek's not something of the past. Now it may be because of what we're going to explain, it might be hard for me and you to do Timcha Zecher Amalek, but they're out there, and therefore, lefi this, of course, Zachor definitely applies, right, for its most literal purpose of keeping the hate alive, because he's out there, right? It may be hard for me and you to find him and take him out, so Hashem has to take him out. As opposed to Shivasam, there's something in the past, Avad Zichram, and that's what he says. That's why he has to explain, even though Avad Zichram, it's not called a chisaron of Eino Noeg L'Doros, because the tzivui never was, time sensitive. Tzivui was never said without any time restrictions, right? There was never any time restriction on tzivui, so even though the job got done early, right? But the tzivui was forever. And same thing by Amalek. Do you think when Amalek will be killed out? Right, so Amalek's out there, Shivas Amim are not out there. What's the difference? So so it's something very interesting. We're going to read in Parshas Zachor. Vaya baniach Hashem elkecha lecha mikol avecha misaviv, v'Hashem nachal l'rishta timcha zecher Amalek. Right? When Hashem is going to give you peace from all your enemies around you, so blot out, obliterate the zecher Amalek. The term zecher Amalek has yet to be explained. Right? But here's my question. What you would think mikol avecha misaviv, right? would include, Amalek, all your enemies around you. He's not in that cloud of Kol Oivecha Misav. Timcha Zecher Amalek. Right? Now it's very interesting that the Megillah, as it's often, the Nevi'im and the Ksuvim, patterned, there's a lot of phraseology that they took a lead from the Chumash. And you could hear this in the Megillah. V'noyach me'oivehem v'harog b'sonehem. This is Baniach Hashem mikol oivecha misav v'noach me'oivehem. Timcha zot v'harog b'sonehem. Very nice word from Rav Yochanan Zweig, Rosh Yeshiva in Miami, that, everyone knows the Gemara, that when Esther came to expose Haman by the second Mishteh Yain, so she first pointed at Achashverosh, Ish tsar v'oyev, but then the Malach pushed her hand, Haman arazeh. Right? So Rav Yochanan Zweig asked a simple question, how did Chazal know that? Where's the murmurs in the pasuk that she first... Ish tsar v'oyev. Baniach Hashem Elokecha mikol oivecha misaviv. So all the other nations, there are oivim. Right? There's mikol oivecha misaviv. Ish tsar v'oyev. Right? Haman, he's a sone. He's not an oyev. He's a sone. The difference between oyev and a sone is an oyev, that's an enemy. There's a point of contention. There is a way that you could resolve that theoretically. As opposed to a sonate, the guy just wants you dead, lishma, right? For the sake of you being dead. That's a sonate, right? So the remez is ishtar. Haman's not an oyev. That's mikol oivecha misav. He's not in that cloud, and that's ishtar v'oyev. That was Achashverosh. Haman arazeh, right? Divrei pi chacham chen. It's a beautiful word, and it stems very nice. Is what we're pointing out. So Amalek is not in the cloud of kol oivecha misaviv. So my question is like this: so where is he standing? He's not misaviv, right? He's not around you. Where does he stand?
With you.
Yeah. So there's something amazing to point out, which explains how, the mutually exclusive, situation that there is between Klal Yisrael and Amalek, that we cannot coexist. Everyone knows, Rashi, beginning of Chumash, Bereshis, B'shul HaTorah Shnikros Bereshis, right? B'shul Yisrael Shnikru Reishis. There's something else called a Reishis. When Bilam looks at Amalek, he says, Reishis Goyim Amalek. Right? First amongst nations. Right? So, and we're going to define that more in a second, but the most basic point is, we're taught in geometry. There's room for infinite points on a plane, but there ain't no two firsts. So there's room for infinite points on a plane, but there's no two firsts. There's no two firsts. It's like there's no two centers, right? See, Amalek wants our place in reality, right? And that's really, we're supposed to be Or Lagoyim, just like we're the Reishis of the Bria, and so that's true of all the nations. They should all follow us. Like the pasuk says, "V'holchu goyim la'oirech lasid lavo." They're going to follow us. Amalek wants our place on the checkerboard. He's not misaviv. He wants our place. That's what he wants. Yeah. So now here's another interesting thing. So that explains how this type of why he's not misaviv. He wants to stand where we are, and that's why he can't tolerate our existence. He wants our place. Right? That's why coexistence with him is impossible. Right? But here's another thing to think about. Right? How big does a rachis have to be? I need you to think about it for a second so I can take a mobile time. Huh?
1/40th, 1/50th, 1/60th.
Right. Yeah. Infinitesimal. Doesn't have to take any. The rachis is like infinitesimal, right? You say it takes 1 second long. Why? I'll cut that second in half, and that first half I'll cut in half. And it's infinitesimally small. That nakuda, they call rachis, right? The first. Right? It's not. It just exists in thought. Right? It's just a concept. Right? It doesn't have any real tangible length to it. It's an idea, right? And this fits with another chazal, Yisrael olu b'machshava tchil. That was rachis. It's like the first thing Hashem had in mind, right? It's the original point from which the Bria branched out from, right? So the amazing thing about Amalek is, and this is a Ramchal in his Sefer Kinas Hashem Tzvakos, is that he could be a rachis, he could be a concept. Just like Am Yisrael we're a nation, but we're also a concept. Yisrael Olu Machshava Tchila, the flow Sechel Machshvo Sechel Aleinu, where the focus of the Rebbe Shalom's thoughts, right? Amalek could actually be an evil twin in that manner. And says the Ramchal, this is in Sefer Kinas Hashem Tzvakos, by the original Milchama with Amalek, it says, Vayachlos Yoshua es Amalek ve'es Amo lefi Charav. He weakened Amalek and his nation. Say Vayachlos Amalek, or just Vayachlos es Amo. Well, so says the Ramchal like this, very interesting idea, that Amalek started losing their national mass, right? The space that they took on the face of the earth, they already started losing that with Yoshua, right? Amo, the Am, right? And with Shaul, the next major war with Amalek in our history, next, big one, Shaul whittled them down to one guy, Agag, right? Haman is Ha'agagi. They stopped being a nation. Show their nationhood as having a place on the map to call their own. That was on its way down from already the first Milchama, and Shaul finished that off totally, right? When Haman came on the scene, there was no Amalek on the map anywhere you could see, right? Amalek, Haman was a Persian citizen. Right? I don't know if he came in legally or not. I don't know. Right? Lottery system, I can't tell you. Right? If Trump would have been there, it wouldn't have happened. Right? Right? All right. So what is there? Yeah. Got in there, got free Medicare, everything. Right? All benefits. Right? So he was a Persian guy. He was a Persian, rose up to level of Persian prime minister. Right? It was a Persian citizen, l'chol davar, right? There was no Am called Amalek, then, so the Ramchal says it was on its way down already from Yoshua. It was Vayachalosh, right? And says the Ramchal, that's why the Torah called him already then, Ki mocho emcha es zecher Amalek. Their nationhood got whittled down to being a concept. And that is the amazing thing that's terrible. A huge koch that Amalek has, that no other nation has. They have a conceptual existence. All the other umos, right? If they assimilate, they're gone, right? They don't, So Avad Zichram by the Shiva Amin is simply not that they were, that they were laid waste. They intermarried. Okay, the Am is bottled, right? Because they intermarried. It's over, right? Because once the nationhood is bottled, there's nothing left them. Amalek is rachis goyim, rachis. Right? And Rashis Goyim means he could be anybody. Rashis Goyim means he's a concept, but also means he takes over the nation's mind. Right? Like Chazal tell us, no one knew how to tell Lashon Hara like Haman. Right? The Megillah says it's like a 3-line conversation with Achashverosh, and he incited him to annihilate the whole Jewish people. And Sister Ramchal says, whenever you have these type of ideologues that invade and infest, and take over the mind of a nation, that's the klipa of Amalek. They're rachis goyim. They're the head of all nations, so they could take over the head of any nation. Right? So I would tell you, are the Germans Amalek? I don't know. Hitler definitely was. Right? In the sense that koach, right, that you could come and capture the mind of a whole nation and incite them to genocide. That's the koach of Amalek. And that's Zecher Amalek. Timcha is Zecher Amalek. The concept lives on. There are carriers of the concept, right? It's a virus. I mean, Corona. It's like, that's why it's happening in Purim. It's actually, Amalek's a virus. So that's a davar nifla. We have a Messiah, that the Goyin had Simonim of Amalek. What does that mean, Simonim? So all you have to do is identify one. I know I have to kill out that whole people. And that's... They say, his name Chaim Volozhner, that when he was by one of the czars, the kid, it was Tsar Nikolai when he was a kid, spit in his face. And he said that kid had all the simonim of Amalek. So if the kid, the stomach of the father, no? No, lav dafka, right? Amalek is Zecher Amalek. He has a unique existence that, because of his racist goyim that the others aren't, he has a conceptual existence and it could pop up anywhere. And it could be that, his father is not Amaleki, he is an Amaleki. Like one of these recessive genes, skips a few generations, pops out, right? And that's the Nakud. That's why it's called Zecher Amalek, right? And that explains to what extent, he could kind of coexist with us. He wants our space in reality, right? He wants our space in reality. So how is there room for him to stand? Now you understand why he wants us dead, because to the extent that we're down and out of the picture, that vacuum is where he could move in, right? That's the place he wants to occupy. But how is he around at all if we're here? The answer is like this, right? He's just an idea. He's a concept, right? And there's two types of concepts, emes and sheker, right? Sheker takes up space in the mind, right? He's a concept. He's a concept. So there's, he, as it were, exists in the global imagination and the global consciousness, the way sheker takes up space in people's minds, even though it's kulo sheker, it's not real, right? And that's saying, so now with this you understand very, very well, right? Why Amalek, he's not mikol vechel misaviv. He wants where we are, right? He wants to be racist, right? Now, and it's the machlokas, it's the battle between the concept that's real, Yisrael, Shnikru Rashis, versus Amalek, Rashis Goyim Amalek. And because, the aspect of him that's just not killable, because it could pass like a virus from from nation to nation, right? Is this inyan of Zecher Amalek. Timcha is Zecher Amalek, the concept of Amalek. Right, that's what's deadly about Amalek. That's what makes Amalek a shapeshifter, right? So if at in the days of Parsamar, so the Persians were the minions of Amalek. Haman was their Rosh, right? And he was their Rashis, and they all followed his lead, right? Then it was Hitler, and now it's the left, right? Now it's the left, right? The problem is, Shem Yerachim, our Jewish Democratic brothers, has to open their eyes. 70 years ago was the people on what you call the political right. Amalek, he moves, he moves with the times. They're living in the past. Amalek is, he moves with the times. Now he's on the left, right? We don't have to worry about a bunch of, rednecks, who dropped out after third grade. They're not a threat to us, That's, the, what?
Unfortunately, I'm not sure it's the right or the left.
No, he moves. He switches sides even on the same day. Whatever. I always say, evil's got no principles. Evil doesn't have principles. Right? Do you think, Amalek would say, I was with the right until now. I'm not stepping towards the left. Of course, he doesn't care. He shifts. And that's the pshat. Since evil has no principles, you have a person like Linda Sarsour, right, or Ilhan Omar, together with the liberals. What do they agree on? Tell me. What? Do they agree on abortion? They agree on gay rights? They agree on nothing, right? And they're like, best friends. Because evil has no principles. They're not principled people. They don't care. So they agree on nothing. Get together just to be against Christ or against the Kodesh Baruch Hu. Right? So right, so with this we understand, and that's why the biggest weapon that we actually have against Amalek is Zachar Es Asher Sachar Amalek. Right? All right, and that's what the Rambam says. So first of all, everything in the Rambam is to be taken in the most literal form, right? Zachinu, right? That the Shiva Sa'amin, Kfar Avad Zichram, because there's nothing more to them than their national identity, and that's Batal. Amalek, because he's Rashis Goyim, which plays out as this bechina called Zecher Amalek, the concept, that's why he's still around. And that's hard for me and you to get our hands on, so that's why Rambam Sefer Mitzvahs puts the emphasis, Hashem will do it. But the Rambam is saying the mitzvah still applies. And I think the Rambam is alluding to a Medrash Tanchuma on the mitzvah saseh of Zachar. Right? The Tanchuma on those psukim. Because the pasuk, synthesizes the two distinct mitzvahs saseh. There's one mitzvah to remember him, and there's one mitzvah to kill him. Zachar, Timcha Zecher Mot. The Torah put these two mitzvahs sandwiched together. Right? So now the Medrash Tanchuma asks it as a stira, like this. All right? And then the Ramchal addresses this also in that same sefer, Kinas Hashem Tzvakas. Right? You know, the Medrash Tanchuma says a kasha, stirim psukim. Because in Parshat Pesach says, Ki mocho emcha zechar. Hashem says, I'll do it, like the Ram brought in the Sefer Mitzvahs that we read. Right? But of course we know that we have our own mitzvahs to say, of timcha zechar Amalek. Like the Ram brings in the Yad. So the Medrash Tanchuma says a stirim psukim, and Medrash Tanchuma says something very interesting. Ata zochreu lamata, vani mochkeu lamala. Right? We do zocher on earth, and that generates a response from heaven. Hashem will do in Mechias Amalek. Because the Ikar Kiyum of Amalek is in Machshav, right? That's the status, that's the apikorsis, that's the anti-Semitic, all these false concepts, all the fake news, right? That, is, filtering and influencing, fake news, even though it's kulo sheker, people, react based upon it, right? A lot of money moves and a lot of things happen based on just fake news. Right? That's the Metzias of Amalek that there is. Right? So a Zohar is not just a Hechitimtze for Timche, but when we are not able to identify him, Zohar is the Timche. Ata Zochel Milmata, Vani Mochkeo Milmala. Because the mitzvah of Zohar, to constantly be aware about him and to constantly hate him, to not accept the sheker, not be accepting of the sheker. Right? You have to ask yourself, if it's just to forget about him, Timche Zechrot, we should forget about him. We shouldn't have this mitzvah. The only ones talking about Amalek is us, right? If we would abolish Parashas Zachar, we would have forgotten him already, right? Right? No, but the pshat is like this. We have to remember him and see him for who he is, and to be hating of the sheker. And our hatred of the sheker gets a response from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right, that he removes the sheker from the world. To the extent that you are unaccepting of sheker and you reject sheker, right, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu responds, Ata Zochel Milmata, you see him for what he is, the low life that he is, and you don't accept him as being real or as acceptable. Hashem responds also in a response to our rejection of Amalek. He responds to that, and he's mochkeu milamala. Right, Baruch Hashem, we have to have unmitigated intolerance, right? Intolerance for all evil and all kriros and all any type of compromising of Torah values. And of course, will be ma'abed, Amalek and right, and be megala, the sakin al machushaka. Chaim.
This is when they say, or Chatzko and others say that